guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought that I would do my version of the trend that's been going around, which is like how to become that student in 2024. So I'm going to break it down into like 5 tips that I feel like are genuinely actionable. Whereas, because I feel like sometimes I understand like what people are saying, but I don't actually know how to like go about it in my own life and how to like actually apply it. If any of you guys are new, then thank you so much for watching. And quickly introducing myself, I'm Lucy, currently 20 years old, about to turn 21, and this is my 3rd year studying a degree in mathematics and statistics at Oxford University. So I'm about to take finals in June, and then afterwards we'll see. This video is also kindly sponsored by Scrintle, and more on that later. Make sure you guys stick around until the end. I feel like the final tip is probably the reason why my life is like where it is now. So without further ado, moving on to tip number 1, which is always keep your eyes open for more opportunities. Like by this point in 2023, there are so many opportunities, scholarships, bursaries, awards, grants, like almost beyond the realm that you would even begin to know about. This is like probably the biggest reason why I use LinkedIn, because like it's through LinkedIn that you can kind of see what like other people are doing. I know, for example, like some of the opportunities that I did, like LinkedIn is like the only platform where I've actually like shared any of the things. Like I'm not gonna really like do it on Instagram, maybe on YouTube, but like you know what I mean. So like I know like most of my friends or like people that I've met in Oxford, like at one point or another I've like scrolled through their LinkedIn, and usually it goes like pretty detailed. Like it starts probably like year 10-ish in high school, so around like the age of like 15. So for example, during the summer of year 11 I did like a internship at the House of Commons. It was honestly one of the best experiences of my life. I know like most of the people probably don't even know that this program exists, and I remember my mum sent me the program, otherwise I wouldn't have known about it either. But now that I applied and I met people who I'm still in touch with today, I know for a fact that if more people knew about it, then there'd probably be like 10 times the number of applications than there was. For example, like my scholarship for my master's degree, the campus ambassador position that I got for Morgan Stanley, that led me to get like the competitive internship offer that I now have at an investment bank. Unfortunately, exam season is around the corner yet again, so I thought that I would plan my revision this year on Scrintle, which is this really cool productivity app. We can essentially create like a really aesthetic board and use it to get some motivation for revision. I thought that we could do like one colour on this revision board, like per module. Essentially we're starting off with applied and computational statistics, applied probability, foundations of statistical inference. These are the 3 stats courses that I'm taking, and then we have the maths courses, further mathematical biology, applied PDEs. And that's it. Would you believe I only have 5 papers this year in comparison to 10 last year? It is a big improvement. People who know me will know that I love flashcards over everything. You can like test yourself, and you can have like a not overwhelming amount of information on one card. So if, for example, we were like making notes on like GLMs, we could put generalized linear models, change the color pink. And definitely my favorite part about Scrintle is like the fact that you can like link cards with each other. So if we wanted to link this card onto another card, we can like pull this arrow, and then we can write whatever we want on here, something relating to generalized linear models, maybe the canonical link function, and then talk about that, and then change the color for that, and then we can just like keep adding on like links, so then everything just looks like really coherent. When I got started, the thing that I loved the most was like the daily notes board, because my New Year's resolution for 2024 was to get better with like writing things down and not holding like all the amounts of information in my brain that would just be more efficient on a piece of paper. So I just like to use this board, like especially like the my week planning. So if, for example, we were like thinking ahead to revision, privilege of having 5 papers, I can do like Monday to Friday, 1 day for each paper. So if we start off with like further mathematical biology on Monday, and then we can like add on a new card based on like the other tasks, like perhaps like film a TikTok video, etc. And then we can like add titles, and we can just like go through the week One thing that I love about Scrintle is the fact that I'm always hesitating as to whether I want to make notes or whether I want to do flashcards. I feel like I have limited time. I don't want to be spending all my time doing note taking. Scrintle allows you to have like the all-in-one place thing about notes, but then also the individual cards, like flashcards. If you're interested in trying out Scrintle, you can use my discount code Lucy10, or you can click the link in the description box down below. You can choose whichever plan works for you, either the personal pro or the lifetime pro. Also, some like funded opportunities that you can get to like kind of gain exposure into the financial industry. Like, actually it's such a good procrastination method, like scrolling through people's LinkedIn, because I feel like sometimes you just get like a wanting to scroll. You know, it is fun as well just to like be like, ooh, okay, I see. And when you are like searching for opportunities, just like keep your eyes open and try something new, because I feel like sometimes it is easy to be like closed off to certain opportunities just because you think like, I'm not really sure if that's like what I'm interested in, and maybe it's not that related to the thing that you want to study. The older you get, I feel like the more like towards like a certain niche you end up in. So for example, like you can kind of go from like studying all subjects just to like studying the sciences, to just studying maths, to just studying like a small branch of maths. I feel like that just like naturally happens as you get older. When you're in school, just try to make the most of like exploring breadth as well as depth, because some of the things that I did, like being in the combined cadet force for a year, not that that was by choice, but I even did, for example, a 1-year work experience placement at a local hospital. We did kind of like the softer side, like playing games with like the inpatients and talking to them, doing arts and crafts, things like that. I feel like, you know, like even if you're unsure if it is for you, like you could just try it, and I don't think you'd ever think back being like, oh, I really regret doing that. I've like 99 times out of 100 you'll think back and be like, oh, I'm really glad that I did that, even if it's not directly like the career path that I'm now on. Nothing to do with like medicine or care or anything like that, but I am still so glad that I did that. My second tip might sound weird, but it is like always try and get your money's worth for whatever you're doing. For example, suppose someone got you a gift to stay in a 5-star hotel for one night. Like, chances are you're really going to be thinking like, oh, I really need to make the most of like the time that I'm here. I'm gonna like check out the sauna, the spa, the restaurants, probably going to take all the toiletries from the bathroom that are free, or like use all the shower gels and stuff. Yeah, not that I'm speaking from personal experience, but anyway, I feel like that mindset of like kind of maximizing the opportunity that is currently here, that is like kind of obvious when it's like something like a 5-star hotel, but you can apply like the exact same logic for things like school. For example, at school, my teachers were so willing to like help at any time. When you're preparing for like GCSE English, say, and you could like go through and write so many essays based on the past papers, and they would like mark it for you, or you could drop in during their office hours and ask so many questions about like everything relating to their exams, or you could like email them if it was like during the holidays and they would reply answering. And in a way, I remember being quite surprised like how many people just like did not make the most of that at all. Ultimately, like the facility can be there, but if you're not going to use it, then it's the same as if it wasn't there. I know like we were lucky in that we had amazing teachers. Like not all schools are like that, and not all teachers are like that. I feel like everyone has these like small privileges above other people in their own life, and I think it is up to you to like look closely at your own life and see like what kind of things that you can like make the most out of. Like, what do you have that other people don't? And really just like try to manipulate that to give yourself the best advantages possible. It's the same thing as Oxford. Like, yes, we're lucky in that we have tutorials with like really strong academics being able to help you in like a high student teacher ratio, but it is really easy to also just to like sit there like not speaking unless you explicitly get picked, and not asking any questions and stuff like that. Like by doing that, you are also not making the most of the opportunity that you are lucky to have. Number 3 is to always plan ahead. Let me give you an example. So as like a finalist, which is what we call people who are in their final year of university, you have to think about what you're going to do after your degree, which a very attractive option for lots of people at the moment is like kind of like the high paying finance job that's like prestigious, and everyone wants to work for the top banks like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. And you'd be surprised, like even at the very, very top universities, like how many people have like made no plans ahead about to graduate and have realized that like I can't even like get my foot through the door in these places. Just to give you an example, like if you want to do a job like trading, they take very few graduate hires. So if you want to get a job after you graduate, say in like September when you graduate, ideally you would have like an internship, preferably at the bank that you want to work at, on your CV, which probably converted into that job. So in order to do that internship would be a year before then, starting July, the year before you graduate. Like some people can get the internship straight away, but a lot of the time if you have no industry experience on your CV, it might also not be easy. So in order to get that, you need to apply for the spring week, which dates back to first year of your university course. And even the spring weeks are extremely competitive. I know some people started planning like even before they started the degree. This is like kind of like a random example if you're not interested in the industry, but you'd be surprised at like how many things do require like the long-term planning. It doesn't matter what the goal is. Set the goal in your calendar and then backtrack it. So like if you want to do medicine at university, then like backtrack, when do you need to do the BMAT? What A levels do you need to take? What GCSEs do you need to take? Like how much do you need to have on your resume before you can like apply to med school, for example? My fourth tip is know properly how to handle constructive criticism. I, for the first like 18 years of my life probably, handled constructive criticism extremely badly. I always took it as like an insult, and I'd probably be there like, not at the time in tears, but when I'm like alone, I'd definitely be there like either like so mad and like fuming at the situation, or I'd be like really upset, being like, oh my god, like why don't they like me? Like why are they like being so mean? But now, like the older I get, the more I realize that like, you know, sometimes constructive criticism is so useful, and like you can't even wait until you like naturally receive it. You need to like go out and like actively seek feedback. For example, during the spring week that I did, we had one of the talks from like the top bankers, like kind of like the managing director level people, and they were saying like the importance of like actively going out and getting feedback on your things. Editing Lucy here. I just wanted to like really clarify the difference between like someone being mean and constructive criticism. Like sometimes people are just genuinely mean, so when people are saying something to hurt you, like never change what you're doing based on like what they said. So like don't change yourself to like please other people, which I don't think was like that clear in that video. So like just to give you like an actual example about like what I mean. So for example, like I had a mock interview. He like asked me a question. I did not do a great job at answering the question. And when I finished, he was just like, yeah, like I can't lie, that wasn't a great answer. And things like that, like it came from a good place, and it would have been easier for him to just be like, yeah, that was like great. And he gave me like good feedback that I could like actually work on and implement, and it came from a good place. So that's more like what I mean by like constructive criticism, and like when you should use that to like change, but just like never let like someone's mean comment like make you change as a person. So my final tip is probably like the biggest thing that I have learned from Oxford, and surprisingly not from the professors but from the peers that I'm surrounded with on a day-to-day basis. I might do an entire video about kind of the study skills that my fellow students at Oxford have taught me, because they don't realise but they have taught me a lot. And this tip is specifically like you need to do what works for you. Like this fundamentally sounds like the most basic piece of advice that I could give, so let me explain myself. You will meet like lots of different people at Oxford, and they are like the cream of the crop, so they will be so good at what they're doing, and it is sometimes like even intimidating like how good they are sometimes at what they do. Like for example, like you have like the person who's like really into finance and they just seem like so good at it, and then you also have the people who are just top academics, or the people who you know like will be politicians someday. And the best students that I've seen are the people who kind of like know their strengths and weaknesses, and they know consequently based on those like what works for them. For example, like the libraries in Oxford are a popular place to study a lot of the time. Like everyone loves them, I love them. Like the college library or like the further away ones where you have more space. And you have like lots of students at Oxford who know that their weakness is like if they're in their room they get distracted, they go and make cups of tea, they go and lie down. There are too many things around them to distract them, so they need to like remove themselves from the room of distractions and like go to a library where they feel like pressure to study and they feel judged when like other people see them not studying, for example. Obviously that judgment comes from within, but they like know themselves well enough to know that that is something that helps them. So they will like take initiative and put themselves in a situation rather than like seeing that working in their room is like a mistake and like make it over and over again. But you will also get the side of students who know that like they get distracted by all of the little things, like the random coughs in the room or like people's footsteps or like working near people and like distracted by all of these things, and they like the being alone, working in their room, just like grinding away at their desk. However much you don't feel like that sometimes, like you know yourself the best out of everyone else around you. So you can like take people's constructive criticism and use it and think about it and digest it, but ultimately like you know what works the most for you. Like some of the best students I've seen like actually don't work for that many hours during the day. They wake up early, for example, around 8 and then work until around like 7 p.m. and then they take evenings and weekends off all the time, regardless of how stressed they are that day or if they finish their work or not. Like they know that that's what works best for them. So these were probably the 5 biggest things that helped me reach the position that I am now, but I also know that there's so much that I still need to work on and so much that I want to achieve in this life. I used to hate this slang so much, but recently I've kind of digested it and been like, you know, like you only live once. Just maximize every day and maximize this life. And if you tried your best, I don't think you'll ever look back on it and be like, oh, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, because you know, you tried your best. So yeah, I really hope that that was useful. Don't forget to try out Skrintl, and best of luck for exam season or whatever projects you have, and generally for the rest of this year. I love you guys and I'll see you very soon.